Rappers have been dissing each other back and forth for as long as hip-hop has existed. Every month there is a new or ongoing rap beef, and at this point, it's hard to know who is loyal to who in the industry. When you see friends turning their backs on each other, it makes you wonder if it's all an act, or if they suddenly hate each other. It makes more sense than if it's an act, especially how music executives are looking for profit. But do you think it's going too far now? Let's get into it. Rap beef is like a tale as old as time. One of the most popular rap beefs in the history of hip-hop is between Tupac and Biggie. Tupac and Biggie were close friends before they became big in the industry. But their relationship grew sour when Tupac signed under Suge Knight and Biggie signed under P. Diddy. P. Diddy and Suge had their own beef from when Suge poked fun at Diddy at the 1995 Soul Train Awards. According to former close associates of P. Diddy, the mogul was afraid of Suge and was willing to do anything to get rid of him. But we will get back to that later. Tupac and Biggie's beef was kind of an inherited beef from their bosses, but it only became worse when Tupac got robbed and Biggie refused to reveal the identity of the attackers, leading to months of disses from Tupac and Biggie during that period. Tupac would eventually die in a drive-by shooting, and Biggie would be accused of being behind the murder. Some years after Tupac died, Biggie was also shot dead. What is one thing that you noticed in this beef so far? P. Diddy and Suge, the execs in charge of these rappers, didn't die. The disses that originated out of that beef are still paying them till this day, and at the moment, they are the ones winning the most. Suge and P. Diddy never ironed out their issues. In fact, Keefe D, one of the killers of Tupac, claimed that P. Diddy placed a bounty on Tupac and Suge's head. That bounty was worth $1 million, and when Keefe D got the chance to kill Tupac and Suge, he grabbed it. The only problem was that Diddy didn't pay him the bounty because Tupac was the only one that died, and it led to years of Keefe snatching on Diddy. Despite never ironing out their issues, they continued to run their labels, signing new artists and getting new deals that enriched their pockets. How was all that possible? It was all possible because of the hatred their signees had for each other. The hatred that made their signers willing to spill blood while the execs sit in their luxurious mansions and decide what records they want released. Male rappers aren't the only ones with beef that execs capitalize on. When Cardi B debuted in the music industry in 2015, word on the street was that she was an industry plant sent to come and beef with Nicki Minaj, the hottest female rapper at the time. If the rumors were true or not, that remains largely unknown. But did they beef? For sure. The beef between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B started when they worked on Motorsport together. If you are conversant with things that go down in the hip-hop community, you already know how this story goes. But if you are not, here's a brief story of the beef. After Motorsport with Migos, Cardi B, and Nicki Minaj was released, Cardi B was asked about her working experience with Nicki Minaj, and she revealed that it was amazing, even if Nicki Minaj changed her verse multiple times. When Nicki Minaj was asked about how she felt about Cardi's remark, she made it sound like Cardi was being an unnecessary hater. Cardi then went on a social media rant, and the iconic Met Gala shoe-throwing debacle went down. They have sneak-dissed each other, but the major way that the execs have benefited from this beef is through the constant rage baiting. For example, when Cardi B released her 2024 song Like What, Nicki Minaj's fan base claimed that the intro was a copycat of one of Nicki's songs. What did that outrage do? It led people to listen to the Nicki song that people were comparing Cardi's song to, thereby leading to increased streams for Nicki Minaj and more money for her label. Cardi's song was also receiving attention with her fan base vibing to it and Nicki's fans listening to it to find something to complain about. It meant more money for the labels they both belonged to and more attention for the artist. Cardi B is most likely not an industry plant, but her beef with Nicki Minaj made her label focus more on her and continue to promote her. The execs don't care. As long as they are able to make big bank, whoever wants to beef is free to beef, as long as you don't bring the violence to their doorstep. But big music executives aren't the only ones benefiting off of hate and violence. Blueface's record label has successfully pushed some artists into the limelight with the PR of hate, and even though it didn't make them remain relevant, it still happened that they became popular and made money. Blueface's most known artist and now baby mama, Krishan Rock, came into the limelight because of the fighter attitude she took into Blueface's show years ago. Her constant beef with the other ladies in the competition made her become people's favorite. And after the show, she started dating Blueface and he signed her to his record label. But we are not going to talk about the domestic violence she endured at the hands of Blueface, but the beef between her and the rapper's first baby mama, Alexis. Alexis was unhappy about Blueface getting a second girlfriend when they hadn't officially broken up, and it led to her always calling out Chrisean Rock. But most times, the beef always started around the time Blueface was going to release new music. After Chrisean finally had a child for Blueface, he claimed that he wasn't the father, which led to her releasing a diss track with Lil Mabu. Lil Mabu was a new rapper on the block, and for some reason, he became really close with Chrisean. And despite being around 18, he claimed that he had snatched Chrisean from Blueface. Alexis then released her own diss track for Chrisean Rock, and it was popular on TikTok for a very long time. But amidst all these disses flying around, Blueface posted a list of artists signed to his record label on Twitter, and Chrisean and Lil Mabu's name appeared on that list. What did that mean? It meant that Blueface was making his artists seem like they hated each other to fuel rage among people and make them pick a side and listen to songs from that side. No matter whose side people picked, the money would still go back to him. So he was causing an outrage by using fake beef to make people notice his artists. While it may be useful in the moment, it doesn't keep artists relevant for long. And people knew the whole beef between Blueface artists was a hoax when Blueface got arrested and Chrisean and Alexis started hanging out together and begging for his release. What was the essence of this excessive show of love if the artists never liked each other? How did they suddenly put their issues behind them? Music execs are fanning flames of hate to make their artists stay on people's lips because they know that fans like drama. So rappers are no longer just rapping for the craft, but also beefing to keep the people entertained. When music executives cannot get black rappers to hate each other, they make them live out the stereotypes people have of black people. An example is Sexy Red. Sexy Red is no doubt a talented rapper, but her management has carved an image of her that is reminiscent of what people think black women entail. When she got into the industry, she was aiming to be a sex symbol, and her management worked hard in ensuring that's exactly how she turned out. Her odd tattoo placements and excessive sexualization in her music contributed in making people look at her as an average rapper rather than a talented rapper. But Sexy Red is not the only black female celebrity that is sexualized by their labels. Nicki Minaj, Doja Cat, and Cardi B are just a few examples. While there is nothing wrong in showing off your sensuality, looking at the image created out of white female celebrities is quite the contrary. For this example, let's look at Taylor Swift. When you think of her, what comes to mind? Calm, modest, and innocent? Why? Her music style, way of dressing, and manner of speaking seem so well curated to make her seem like a worthy image of emulation. Ariana Grande is another classic example. She sings about sex openly, like in songs 34 plus 35 and Positions. But the music video and her general imagery doesn't suggest anything sexual. It's only when you listen to the lyrics closely that you realize she's talking about sex very casually. But why isn't she sexualized? It's simple. Her label didn't create a sensual persona for her. But when it comes to a black celebrity, they need to be sexualized because throughout history, black women have always been approached like weapons of satisfaction. When Doja Cat stepped out of the overly sexualized image that had been created for her, people had a meltdown and could not fathom why she would want to change her persona. They were making think pieces about the rapper and calling her all sorts of names. But one thing they failed to realize was that she was carving a new path for her music career, and nothing anybody would say would make her back down. Now, are we saying these celebrities don't have a say in anything that happens? Absolutely not. What we are saying is that they don't have as much of a final say as you would like to think. If they don't have a final say, how come celebrities are able to completely overhaul their public persona? They simply have to do it forcefully. Let's get back to how execs keep benefiting from hate in the industry. So when rappers get into fights with each other, a diss track would always be born, and the people at the end winning are the executives. The most recent rap beef in 2024 is between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Now, their issue isn't a matter of who is right or wrong, but who is willing to be self-righteous and convince people to hate the other. The beef started when Drake and J. Cole first released First Person Shooter, and J. Cole said he, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar were the big three. Kendrick Lamar was unhappy with the song, and when he released Like That with Future, he took a shot at J. Cole and Drake for thinking they were even on the same level with him. Kendrick didn't have to respond that way because it was a compliment that J. Cole made. But it appeared that he was blinded by his ego and wanted to be number one with no other numbers existing. His response led to loads of diss tracks flying back and forth between him and Drake, and the content of the diss track says a lot about how both rappers think. In all of Kendrick's diss tracks directed at Drake, he attacked him for sleeping with hookers and having a child he was hiding. He was also accused of texting underage girls and not liking women. Drake, on the other hand, dissed Kendrick for getting sexually abused as a child, which was the only reason why Kendrick was so insistent on calling him a pedophile. Drake also claimed that if there was any real evidence of him grooming underage girls, he would have been arrested by now. Even with the overwhelming evidence of R. Kelly grooming underage girls, it took a while for him to get arrested. So Drake's argument that he hasn't gotten arrested because of a lack of evidence is void, but that's not the point. The beef between both rappers has shown that Kendrick Lamar is self-righteous and Drake is insensitive. They are both great rappers in their own right and were once close friends. How they got to this point stemmed from people constantly pitting them against each other, and Kendrick assuming he's the better one. Kendrick doesn't just assume he's the better one, he also believes that Drake is not black enough to even be having the beef with him. And that's yet again another way black celebrities are always being set against each other. Drake and Kendrick Lamar could both be making a lot of money by bringing their musical geniuses together, but they choose to use it to make money on behalf of music executives that don't care for them. Are we saying that music executives are bad people for using hate to promote their artist? Well, to a large extent. But all of these only happen because of what the fans request. When you look at shows like Love and Hip Hop, why do you think they have so many viewers? Is it because the people on the show are so talented? People just enjoy watching them exist? No, it's because they are always on each other's necks, fighting. What about the Real Housewives franchise? Do you think people just enjoy watching the lives of the rich? Partially, yes, but people watch the show because of the drama the housewives bring with them. The same way reality TV show fans thrive on drama is the same way fans of rap also thrive on drama. When the music execs saw that people enjoy when rappers fight, they started creating problems throughout fan pages. Some fan pages are run by the agency managing an artist, and they sometimes use those pages to spark outrages amongst fans of the artist. It leads to the next question of why fans of rappers enjoy seeing their fave hating on their colleagues. The answer may be rooted in a lack of boundaries between fans and celebrities. It is rooted in fans assuming they know what is best for the rapper they support that started releasing music before having a fan base. When Doja Cat started making drastic changes to her physical appearance in 2023, her fans were unhappy, and it sparked the conversation of how much boundary is required in parasocial relationships. We may have mentioned it before, but we will say it again. Celebrities are humans and don't exist for your pleasure. They have a whole life outside the music they create, and the sooner we realize that, the better. Many rappers have had their family's life at stake because of their beef with other rappers. While people are kicking over the music and insults flying around, some of these rappers are losing people close to them and are unable to do anything about it. Rappers are placed on a high pedestal where they have to prove how gangster they can get. You may say they have a choice of staying away from trouble when it comes knocking, but be very honest with yourself right now. Would you listen to a rapper that always chickens out of disses? If you were a rapper, would you let people talk smack about you and stay quiet? If you won't do any of these things, why do you think any rapper would do the same? The more you are able to stand your ground as a rapper, the more respect you get in the industry and on the streets. So, what can you as a fan do? We can't tell you not to stream diss tracks because we all love a good diss track. You can start by not comparing your favorite artist to somebody else. Even within rap, there are subgenres. Even with rappers from the same subgenres, everyone has their unique vibe. So trying to say one is better than the other only fuels hatred and animosity. If you can be more respectful of each individual's style of rap, it would make it harder for music execs to pit artists against each other in the industry. There is also something called good PR. One of the major reasons people liked God's Plan by Drake was largely because of the music video, where he took random people shopping and put a smile on their faces. He was showing the world that he was generous and a philanthropist. It made people ease more into him as an artist and kept him relevant. Look at that kind of good PR as opposed to the buzz created around Alexis's diss track to Krishan. People got bored of the drama and moved on to the next big thing. It's possible for artists to gain and maintain relevance in the industry based on good PR. While it's not bad to have a little drama in your life from time to time, it's important that it's not forced. Forced drama makes people bored and move on to the next trendy thing. Celebrities can maintain a healthy PR by being themselves authentically and choosing not to play into stereotypes. Would it affect views? Maybe, but more rappers would be able to rest assured that nobody in their lives would be collateral damage in an unnecessary war. So before you go ahead to spread seeds of hate amongst rappers, remember that they have family that could get affected in the process, and they are humans with emotions.